Hello, beings of light. In today's video, we bring you an emotional and inspiring story from Tara, a mother who faced incredible challenges during her pregnancy. Let's dive into Tara's near-death experience. Hi, my name is Tara. 3 weeks ago, I shared my near-death experience with my mom, dad, and younger brother. A week ago, I shared it with my husband and the rest of my family. I received many looks, but overall everyone seemed supportive. I almost wonder if they believed me or thought it was postpartum depression, imagining my mind was making things up. I don't know if that's the case, but it feels good to get it off my chest. As I recount this, I think about how to explain it to those who haven't died or seen the other side. So, I'll start from the beginning. In January 2021, I found out I was pregnant with our fourth child. From the moment of conception, something felt off. 2 months later, I was diagnosed with placenta previa. For those who don't know, this is when the placenta grows near the opening of the uterus, increasing the risk of miscarriage and other health issues. But the placenta previa was the least of our problems. We did an amniotic fluid test to determine possible issues with the baby and received bad news. We were told the baby had a high probability of Down syndrome. The thought of having a special needs child at 40 scared me. My first thoughts were about what would happen to him or her when I died. Who would take care of this child? Naturally, the topic of abortion came up, but my husband and I immediately dismissed it because of our religion. I was put on bed rest and told to avoid any laborious tasks. In the 7th month, I felt a gushing sensation and screamed for my mom to call the ambulance. To keep it light, what I thought was my water breaking was actually me bleeding due to a hemorrhage. I was rushed to the hospital and prepared for an emergency C-section. I was taken to the operating room and lost consciousness. The strange thing about death is watching everything happen. I saw my body being taken back to the operating room where the doctor said, "We're losing her. We have to open and take the baby, then focus on life-saving measures for the mother." I saw them open me and take out my premature son. I remember hearing the doctor say he didn't know if the baby would survive and to start life-saving measures on me. While they stitched my C-section, a nurse was performing CPR and another was giving me oxygen. I watched all this in amazement. The last thing I remember hearing was, "We need to shock her." At that moment, I was pulled upwards at a speed I'll describe as falling off a cliff, but going up. You know that rapid falling sensation in a dream? Well, it was like that, but going up. I continued going up until I stopped abruptly. "Welcome, Tara. We've been expecting you," I heard a voice say in my mind. Looking around, my eyes began to clear, and I could see where I was. A crystalline city, more beautiful than any fairy tale. I heard the voice again. "Welcome, Tara. We've been expecting you." I looked around until I saw who was speaking. The man I saw wasn't the most handsome, but he had a wonderful smile. Olive skin, brown beard and eyes, and a dazzling smile. He wore a robe and a golden sash around his waist. I was mesmerized. "You were expecting me?" I asked. "Yes," the man replied, "but why me?" "Tara, you've completed your mission. It's time to come home," the voice said gently. "No, it's not my time. I just had a baby. I remember everything. I need to be there for my baby," I said, getting increasingly anxious. It didn't matter that this place brought peace, joy, and no pain. I wanted to go back for my children. I knew they needed me, and nothing would stop me from returning. "Why do you want to go back so badly?" the man asked, intrigued that I didn't want to stay. "I need to be there for my children. They need me. Please let me go back," I pleaded. "All your loved ones are here for you. Are you willing to give all that up?" he asked. Yes, I am, I replied. He smiled, saying I was the first soul to beg to go back instead of staying. After much thought, he finally said, "Your body isn't ready for you to return. If you go back now, that body will die, and you won't be able to return." "Walk with me," he said, extending his hand. I took his hand, and we started walking together. The love in his touch made me second-guess my decision to return. As we walked through the crystalline city, I began to see my life unfold before my eyes. I've heard enough near-death experiences to know this was a life review, but mine was different. I didn't see a screen or video playback device, but what I call soul after images. I saw my birth, being breathed into existence by God. I begged God to send me to earth to be with the parents I had chosen. I'll skip the boring parts, but I saw my marriage and the birth of our children. I saw my death again on the operating table. I don't know if it's because the soul is so pure here, but when the life review ended, I found myself crying and holding this man. "It's okay," he said, holding me. This happens to everyone who re-experiences their life from my father's perspective. Of course, I thought. How didn't I realize I was with Jesus? "Lord, forgive me for not recognizing you. Please forgive my ignorance," I pleaded. He assured me there was no need to beg for forgiveness. He said this was what awaited me when I returned, pointing to the home his father had prepared for me. The more he showed me, the harder it became to want to go back. I think Jesus sensed my hesitation and kindly kept saying I didn't have to return, but I knew I needed to. Before being sent back, I was shown a future that may or may not come true. Before I tell you, I want you to know that nothing is set in stone. In 2042, there will be a great earthquake that splits not only the western United States, but also much of Asia. Parts of California will be swallowed by the sea, and Japan and Korea will be wiped off the map. This will lead to many smaller wars initially, which will eventually coalesce into a world war around 2048. Like all wars, it will be fought over resources. The war will end in 2053, but not before the three major superpowers, Russia, China, and the United States, come close to an all-out nuclear war. "It's time for you to return," Jesus told me. "I'm ready." I woke up to the sound of the doctor saying, "Hit her again." I remember screaming and then passing out again. I came out of the C-section with 3 broken ribs from the CPR. During recovery, I kept asking the nurses how long I had been dead. They all gave me strange looks and quickly changed the subject. Eventually, I stopped asking, knowing I'd never get a straight answer. I know this might seem far-fetched, but what I saw was true. I don't know how long I was dead, whether minutes or seconds, but I know I was home and chose to come back for my kids. As I said at the beginning, sharing this with my family got me many strange looks, but no one was mean about it. Oh, and before I forget, yes, my son made it. He shows no signs of Down syndrome or any issues from being born almost 2 months early. God is good all the time, even when we don't ask. I hope Tara's story touched you as much as it did me. Her courage in sharing such an intimate and transformative experience helps us have more hope. In the darkest moments, it's amazing how hope and love can guide us back to the light. Remember to cherish every moment with your loved ones and never underestimate the power of prayer and belief in something greater. May this story inspire us all to seek and recognize the miracles in our own lives. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I'll see you next time.